if you want to talk about a team in a better place, let's pivot to the Philadelphia Phillies, who had an opportunity. They were one of 3 opportunities over the weekend. Phillies, Nats, Twins, Rangers, Red Sox, Orioles. But I want to start in Philly because this team was on a schneid for just what felt like forever. We had accepted that they were one of the best teams in baseball. But then from, I think it was this past Thursday, dating back to when they got back from London in early June. I mean, they were under 500, right? They were underwhelming, relying on that hot start. And they lose to the Marlins. I think it was on Tuesday. And they had come home from a long road trip. And it was like, oh my God, they lost first game of the Marlins. They get down early in game 2 of a 2-game set to the Marlins. And it's just the booing starts. And Kyle Schwarber, with what might have been the turning point swing of their season. Like, it is very easy to find these specific moments in a season and point to them and be like, that mattered. This mattered. There's just so many things happening all the time, right? But that swing that Schwarber had, I think it was on Wednesday. Grand slam, Phillies take the lead, Phillies win. They then win Thursday, Friday, Saturday, W4, get back in good spirits. They lose on Sunday to the Nationals, but take 3 out of 4 from the Nats. And the Phillies, it could be wrong. They could totally biff it again, but it just feels like they're turning it around in the right direction at the right time.
Yeah, and I'm keeping the Phillies in my top spot of my power rankings this week. And I just think that I look at the best version of them and I still feel like their weaknesses I'm not as worried about as these other teams who have nearly identical records at the top of the standings. And I just think we've seen the best version of all of their team at multiple times. We've seen the bullpen look elite. We've seen the starting pitching look elite. We've seen the lineup look elite. Like, you can't say that about a lot of these, like almost any of these other elite teams. And that's what, makes me confident in them. So definitely it looks good for them. One note on the Nationals that we have to mention is that James Wood hit an absolutely majestic home run on Sunday that was notable because people started to notice over the last few weeks, like, James Wood hasn't really been pulling the baseball. Had a line drive triple down the line. He had a couple gap doubles, like low liners, but he had not pulled a ball in the air, which in 2024, that's kind of what you want to do, especially when you have real raw powers. You want to pull fly balls in the air that results in, slugging and whatnot. Now, James Wood was still succeeding. He was hitting balls out to the opposite field and was still, doing pretty well. But it was like, oh, what's going to happen here? And it was like, and I was like, listen, this wasn't an issue for him in the minors. He'll make the adjustment at some point. And oh my gosh, this was one of the most aesthetically pleasing home runs we've had all season to the second deck and right in Philly. And yeah, man, they got a monster, dude. Like, he is going to be, as he starts to figure this out, as he starts to put it all together. Yes, there's going to be some swing and miss, but that is a game-changing offensive talent. And for a team that is still, I believe, ranks last in home runs this season, I believe they were 30th or 29th last year, they need power so badly. And James Wood, and once he starts elevating the ball, is obviously going to be able to provide that.
Jordan, can we pour one out for the 2024 Texas Rangers? I think I'm ready to declare them dead on departure.
Yeah. This is, I think we'll start having some discourse about just where this ranks in disappointing title defenses. This is a bad season. They have a worse record than the Blue Jays, who have essentially purposefully stopped trying to win, at the deadline, and are playing mostly rookies and whatnot. The Rangers did not aggressively buy. They were just like, oh, we'll keep it together and we'll give ourselves a chance for this team to prove that we are actually good. And they're not. They're just not good. At no point of the season did I really think they were that good. And while they were able to avoid getting mopped, on Sunday, this is just a really embarrassing stretch. And at this point, DeGrom, you were trying to hold out for Scherzer and DeGrom and Mahle, and Mahle doesn't look good. And why is DeGrom rushing back for this? And I know DeGrom has said, I am going to contribute this year, and maybe he will. And obviously I would love to see Jacob DeGrom pitch again sometime this season, but it's just a bad season. They haven't gelled really at any point, and to almost get mopped at home at this point in the year is a credit to Minnesota, who's certainly trying to push themselves up into that upper echelon of teams, but just so disappointing. I'm not surprised at this point anymore, but yeah, they're pretty much toast, and you should not be saying that about a defending World Series champion in the middle of August.
Can you take them lower? Answer yes. They have a record one game better than the Washington Nationals. Last opportunity over the weekend
not the plan.
was Orioles Red Sox. These two teams split. Orioles are now tied with the Yankees atop the division. They are in New York this week to play the Mets. I will not be there because, as I mentioned, I'm stuck on the West Coast. But I was supposed to be at Orioles Mets today. I don't think I will make it in time. The Birds splitting with the Red Sox. The bullpen just still remains a little bit shaky. My biggest criticism of their moves at the deadline, if you remember, was that they were almost projecting players forward. They were betting too much on their developmental group's ability to turn pitchers into real contributors. Now, I would say that it's gone pretty well so far with Seranthony Dominguez. That has been a success. Whereas Gregory Soto has been not a success. And it's very obvious that the Orioles could use one more arm.
Yeah. One stat that just blew me away, and I tweeted about this, but Albert Suarez is the one that we've maybe been sleeping on. The first thing, we didn't even acknowledge this a couple weeks ago when they played the Padres. I had no idea it was Robert Suarez's brother. No clue.
Oh, really?
Just absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I missed that entirely. But now I do know that. But more importantly, he is tied for the major league lead in scoreless starts of at least 5 innings.
Amazing.
With Hunter Green and Bryce Miller. And Corbin Burns, one of our followers alerted us, has 0 such starts this year, which is kind of shocking. And again, Burns has been good. The ERA is there. He has pitched deep into games. He has been generally what they paid for, but the strikeouts have certainly not been there. And it is interesting when we think about Burns, just in the context of this rotation. But yeah, the bullpen, though, that's still the thing that we're going to focus on, basically no matter what. And, Seranthony, it's good they're hitting on one of them, but Kimbrel continues to struggle. And it's going to take more than just, they even Cano has kind of scuffled recently, and that's the guy I really believed in the most. So there's just a lot of issues there. And are you not as concerned about, the bullpen, I know it's still an issue for you.
No, I'm concerned.
It's not the focus.
Concerned, yeah. I think the sense in Orioles world is it's less hard to be mad at Cano because they've just used him so much and he has been the most reliable and consistent character in the bullpen. And so are you really going to be mad at the person who's bailed you out so many times? It's a little bit harder. I think there's faith that he's going to get things figured out.